What's up, my recovery family? Hope you're all doing fantastic. Welcome to the Your Recovery Mentor channel. What a day it's been. You are doing that great. Just trust me, it's part of the process. Stick with it. Continue to persevere. Tomorrow is another day. Remember, it's just one day at a time. Get through today. Continue to push yourself. Stay on the right track. Take that next right indicated step, and things will work out. I promise you that. What I want to talk to you about today, and it's something I've talked about in previous videos, and I think it's extremely important, is goal setting. But more importantly, setting smarter goals. Not just smart goals, but smarter goals. And it's an acronym. Okay? It's an acronym that we use. It stands, SMARTER. Stands for specific, measurable, action, realistic, time, what are the other two? Evaluate and reward. Okay, so the reason why I chose this over the typical SMART goal setup is, one, it has a couple extra sections to it, and just like my 4-step, I like to add on extra sections so we have a more thorough understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. Now, the reason why we want to set goals in recovery is so we always have that direction, right? We always have an idea of where we want to be heading, which is extremely important, because the last thing you want to do is be like a boat in the middle of the ocean with no direction, just kind of adrift, and you're kind of going through the motions, and you don't really know what your next step is or what you're trying to accomplish. It's not going to get you anywhere, and if you're trying to get somewhere, it's going to slow down the time it takes for you to get to where you want to get to. So we set goals for ourselves. Now, I encourage you to use this SMARTER goal acronym when you're creating your goals, so that you can have it on paper first and foremost, and I highly encourage you to write it down. Don't just type it, don't go into the notes section on your phone, but actually pull out a piece of paper, pull out a pen, and write it down, because there's been scientific studies that show that when you actually write something using your hand and a piece of paper, that there's more interaction between your brain and your hand, to where that information is going to stick better. It's going to resonate better with you than what it would typically be. So the first one, let's just get right into it. The first one is writing a specific goal. Okay, so what exactly do you want to accomplish? Now, what that means is you don't want to write down something that's very generalized. For example, your goal shouldn't be, I want to be successful. All right, because that can mean a multitude of different things, right? Successful at what? What exactly do you want to be successful at? Are you trying to start your own business? Are you trying to, achieve long-term recovery? What is it that you want to be successful at? So you want to be very specific when you're writing down these goals. That's really important, because the more specific you are, the better direction you have. The next one is measurable. So how will you know when you achieved your goal, right? You got to know when the end game is. You got to know when you've reached that finish line. And it might be a goal where you never actually reach the finish line. But for instance, maybe going back to the example of wanting to start your own business, maybe your way of knowing that you've accomplished your goal is you've opened your doors and you're accepting new customers. Maybe it's, you've built it over the last 5 to 10 years and you sell your company. Whatever it is, you have to figure out when is it that you're going to know that you've accomplished your goal, where you can give yourself the pat on the back and be like, okay, I've done it. Next one is action. What steps will you take to achieve your goal? So this is really important, and you guys know that I encourage you to dream big, think big, and have huge goals for yourself, and then break them down into smaller goals that help you achieve your ultimate goal, and then take action on those smaller goals. And each smaller goal that you accomplish takes you one step closer to your big goal. So again, if you're trying to start your own business, some of the smaller goals might be, okay, setting up my LLC, figuring out the name of my business, buying my domain name, building my website, setting up my social media accounts. There's a lot of different smaller goals that go along with that ultimate goal of having your own small business. So action, listing out the steps that it's going to take for you to achieve that goal. The next one is realistic. Can you actually achieve this goal? And what will you be needing to achieve this goal? So for instance, what that means is it a realistic goal? Can it actually be done? Let's say my goal was to be an astronaut. All right, I've used this analogy before, but let's say my goal is to be an astronaut. Well, that's not very realistic because I'm about to turn 40. All right, and I don't think NASA is going to take anyone that's about to turn 40 for the space program to be an astronaut. So it's not a realistic goal. But if I wanted to go start a new business, then yeah, that's something that anyone and everyone could accomplish no matter what your age is. So make sure that the goal is realistic, okay? Because you don't want to set yourself up for failure before you've even gotten started. So pay attention to that. And then what will you be needing? So you also want to list out, some of the stuff that you're going to need to accomplish your goal. We kind of covered this a little bit in the previous step when we talked about the smaller goals to get to the larger goal. But what do you need to accomplish your goal? Is there additional education that you're going to need to get to where you want to be at? What else do you need to have at your hands to accomplish the goal that you've set out for yourself? The next one is time. Okay, what is the deadline to achieve this goal? So you want to set a deadline for your goal. The reason for that is if you don't have a deadline, then you have nothing to challenge yourself with, right? There's no pressure to get things done in a certain amount of time, which allows you to procrastinate. It allows you to be lazy. It allows you to kind of have the "I'll do it tomorrow" attitude. Give yourself a deadline to accomplish each one of these goals. For instance, I'll give you another example. So let's say one of your goals was accomplishing your 4-step. All right, so the timeline that you would give yourself, or I would give you if I was your sponsor, is if you're in treatment or you have a full-time job, you have 7 days to accomplish your 4-step, to finish it, to be completely done. If you've got a part-time job and you're not in treatment and you've got more free time, then I'd give you 3 days to knock it out and get it done. So you want to have a deadline set so that you can keep the pressure on, so you can keep yourself motivated, so that you can keep moving in that direction on a consistent basis. So make sure that you have a deadline set for your goal. The next one is evaluate. This one I thought was very important, which is why I did the smarter versus smart goals. What do you need to do to achieve your goal? Or what do you need to adjust, to achieve your goal? Now, at certain times, especially when you're setting these larger goals for yourself, there has to be a time where you sit back and evaluate what you've done and ask yourself, honestly, am I on the right track to achieve this goal? Because things change. Trust me. When I first set out to start my outpatient treatment center, I had one idea of what it was going to be, and that idea of what it was going to be changed multiple times throughout the building of the outpatient treatment center. I thought it was going to be one thing, turns out it was going to be something completely different, and it ended up being something completely different. So it's going to change. The goal that you have and how you achieve your goal and what the end game of that goal is going to change over time. So you have to constantly reevaluate where you're at and what you're doing with your goals, and make sure that you're doing the right actions for each one of these goals that you set up for yourself. So take time to reevaluate what you're doing, or evaluate what you're doing. And the last one is reward. How would you reward yourself when you achieve your goal? Now, this is important too, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really big on compliments. I don't like them. I don't like it when someone gives me a compliment. It makes me very uncomfortable, which means that it's also uncomfortable for me to give compliments. I know it kind of sucks, but I don't like it. I'd rather hear critical feedback than someone give me a compliment. I'd rather you tell me what I'm doing wrong so I know what I need to work on than you tell me what I'm doing right. Because if you just tell me what I'm doing right and you're just giving me compliments, that's really, it might make me feel good, well, not me in particular. For me, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. But I would prefer that you just tell me what I need to do better. Where are my areas of opportunity? Now, you might be totally different. You might be a type person who needs that reward, needs those acknowledgments from other people, and if that's where you're at, that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with needing to have that recognition from time to time from your peers or from whoever else, your family, your significant other, whoever it might be. But be careful, I would say, on how much you need that. If that's a constant need, to where you constantly need to hear from other people what a good job you're doing, then it starts to turn into, one, a form of codependency, and two, extensive need for exterior validation, which means validation from other people or places or things or whatever. All of your validation for yourself, your self-worth, your self-value comes from exterior motives. It comes from exterior sources. So just be careful with that. But going back to rewarding yourself, I think that's absolutely appropriate to reward yourself after you achieve your goal. Why not? Take yourself out. Go get go get a mani-pedi. Go out and get a nice haircut. Go buy yourself some new clothes. Go do whatever. Reward yourself. You worked your ass off to get this goal accomplished, and you did it. You saw it through to the end, and you accomplished your goal. I mean, that's a huge thing. I don't know about you, but in my active addiction, the one thing I couldn't do is follow through and get something done. I would have great ideas on how to start something, but I would never finish anything. So if you got to the point to where you actually accomplished your goal, then heck yeah, go reward yourself. Go nuts. Go, I don't know, whatever you're into, go and do it. Go kayaking on the ocean. Go climb, go to Joshua Tree and go climb and rappel on some rocks. Do whatever it is that you're into and reward yourself so you can not only recognize the good that you've done in achieving this goal, but at the same time, build that self-worth, build that self-value, that self-esteem, that confidence that, yes, you're capable of achieving things, right? You can still do this. So, absolutely, reward yourself when you finish your goals. I think that is important, and that is something that you should do. Of course, all this is 100% up to you. But that's a breakdown of SMARTer goals, and it's obviously an acronym, and how you can go about listing out your goals and making sure that they're specific and they're achievable and there's something that can actually be done. They're realistic. It's very, very important while in recovery to have goals, because you don't want to be that lost wanderer, right? That person that just doesn't have a direction, doesn't have a heading on their compass on where they want to go next, on what they're hoping to do. That you don't want that to be you, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment, really, and in some ways setting yourself up for failure, because you don't have that direction. So always have your goals in place. Now, I've said this before in my previous videos, but at night what I'll do is create my list for the next day of what needs to get done, right? Kind of like little mini goals that need to get done the following day. And I'll set that up the day before. And I've talked about it in my time management video. So if you haven't seen it, go back and check out my time management video, because it does correspond well to this video with goal setting. And make sure that you're managing your time appropriately as you're also setting out and structuring your goals. Putting your goals in place for while you're in recovery. It is, I've said it a million times already, I'll say it one more time, it is incredibly important to have these goals in place while you're in recovery, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have direction, you know what you need to do, you know what needs to get done, but you also need to have that follow through. You need to have that ability to get out there and get it done, and see and make sure that you're accomplishing these things that you set out for yourself. Because if you're just making a list and it's just sitting there collecting dust, then what the hell is the point? Good for you for creating the list, but if you're not following through on it, then what are you doing? That's really what it comes down to. So that's why these last couple of videos on time management and goal setting, to me, are extremely important. If you want to achieve long-term lasting recovery, yes, the way you think, the way you perceive is crucial, right? If everything's always negative, then you're going to have a negative mindset, then you're going to be miserable, your life is going to be negative. Like, it's just, no one wants to live that way. So we got to change the way you think, we got to change the way you perceive. But in the meantime, we also have to make sure that you're actually achieving things as well, that you're moving forward in your life, that you're building a life for yourself that you don't want to lose by way of relapse. And the way that you do that is by working on your time management, working on your goal setting, making sure that you're following through and accomplishing the goals that you set out for yourself so that you can have this better life for yourself. I mean, why get clean and sober just to be miserable and have a shitty life? It doesn't make any sense. So make sure that you're staying focused, staying determined, continuing to persevere when life gets tough, because just because you made the decision to change your life and do something good for yourself doesn't mean that life's all of a sudden going to go easy on you. Life is still going to be life. Life's still going to happen. It's life on life's terms. That's what it comes down to. But you can prepare yourself to better deal with life when it does come at you by having these tools, these coping mechanisms in place that you've learned over time, by the wisdom that you've gained by working a program and working on the necessary life skills that you're going to need to be successful. Okay, so there you go. Smarter goals. Make sure you're setting your goals. Follow through on that. Go check out my time management video if you haven't seen it, because like I said, it correlates great with this video as well. And make sure that you're constantly focusing on that next right indicated step. What do I need to do next that's going to get me to that next level? That's going to get me, one step closer to where I want to be, because that's really what matters. And then understand and accept that it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time to get to where you really want to be at. It's not going to happen overnight. I can attest to that. It is going to take time, but it's also going to take effort over time. So you're going to have to continue to put in the effort despite how long that's going to take. Like it's some goals might take years. For me, opening a small business, the first 2.5 years were the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. There were moments where I thought we were gonna have to shut our doors and file for bankruptcy. There were moments where I didn't know how I was gonna pay my bills, how I was gonna pay my rent, how I was gonna pay my employees. It was a very difficult goal to set out to do for myself. But by the grace of God, I was able to accomplish that goal and actually grow it into something amazing that's doing extremely well now. And you could do the same thing. That's really what it comes down to is you can do the same thing. You just got to take the action. You got to have the right direction. You got to have the right mentor figure in your life that's going to give you the right guidance when you need it. You need to have someone that you can turn to who has been there and done that can give you the answers that you desperately need. Because if you think you can do this on your own, you're wrong. You need other people in your life. I have yet to find, so I have over 8 years of consistent clean time and sobriety. I have yet to meet one person who has been able to achieve long-term recovery on their own. In over 8 years, I haven't met one person who's done it on their own. No, I guess that's the good news, bad news of recovery is you have to be in some type of community. You have to have some sort of support network. You have to be able to have people that you can lean on, that you can trust, that you can turn to be able to make it. And you got to be careful on who those people are, because just as easy as some of those people can help you, some of those people can destroy you, and they can take you out quick. I understand that, especially when you have friends in recovery, or you're working with people in recovery, if they're also in recovery, you better hope they're working a program too, because it's very easy. Just like it's easy for you to slip into your old behaviors, it's easy for them to slip into their old behaviors as well. So watch out for that. Be careful of that. Be cautious. And be constantly meeting new people. Because you never know when someone is going to disappear out of your life. maybe they move away, maybe they relapse, and you never hear from them again. Maybe they die. I unfortunately know way too many people that have died from this disease of addiction and alcoholism, whether it was an overdose or it was suicide. I've known way too many people that are no longer here. They're dead. That's why I take this very seriously. That's why I take the time to commit into putting these videos together for you guys, to try to give you as much information and knowledge as possible, to try to give you the best chance possible to be successful in recovery. And that's what it's all about. And by the way, let me just take a quick second here to thank you all my subscribers. We just reached 1,200 subscribers. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you, each and every one of you who have subscribed to this channel and helped build this community. All that I ask that you do is continue to like the videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop a new video. Like, I'm working on getting some guest speakers on here. Like I said before, I'm going to be doing some giveaways here shortly as well. Some Amazon gift cards, a couple other things. So stay tuned. Some cool stuff's on the way. And thank you for helping grow this community to what it's at now, what it's at today. That's absolutely amazing. And God bless each and every one of you. If nobody's told you they love you today, you know what I'm about to say. I love you. I got nothing but love for you. You're worthy of love. You're deserving of love and forgiveness. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. Go out there and kill it. Go make it the best day of the week. What your day is, what your life is, what your treatment is, what your recovery is dictated by you. It's up to you. It's the attitude that you take. It's the decisions that you make. It's the thoughts that you have. That's what dictates what your life is. And the good news is you get to control that. That's one of the few things that we do have power over, and we get to control is our thoughts and our perceptions, our actions and behaviors. We can control those things. It might take time to change them, but we can control them. So until the next video, love you all. Peace out.